automatically got CC'd because it was forward.
Yeah, he probably didn't mean to.
What's going on, everybody? Joining us. We like to do our little soft intro here. Hey, and for the first time, Sully did not crap all over Achilles Smith. So
it's been a while. Shit. You probably could, though, with the Bengals playing the Bengals again and doing what they did yesterday.
Yeah, we could have easily. We had a lot to get to, so we're not going to dilly-dally too much. I'm going to get right into the video intro because we have 16 football games to recap.
Yeah, we got a lot to break down.
And then some other stupid stuff. We'll get into it.
It's Jordan. A spectacular move by Michael Jordan. Drives one out to deep left field. This one's got a chance to get out of here. Gone! 3-run Jimmy Jack first big league home run for Mike Trout.
Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
And an 81-point game. 55 in the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed the second greatest scoring performance in NBA history.
What's going on? Thank you for joining us on Facebook. I know you're watching us live on Facebook, either on the RTF page. Actually, you might be watching on YouTube as well, or you're watching us on the Infinity Sports page. A lot of different places to catch us live. Obviously, you can tell Sully is feeling a little under the weather. Yesterday was football day. This is what Monday after the NFL looks like. I don't have my hat. I'm wearing my glasses. I've got a baggy sweatshirt.
I feel like death. It's what football will do to you, baby. But it's back, man. We're excited. It's back.
Thank goodness. And you know what? Before I get too deep into the show, like I said, we got a comment already. What do we got here? TJ Burns. Tampa Bay lost because Joe Buck called the game, and the Bucks had that Joe Buck curse.
Hey, I don't know who TJ Burns is, but I agree. Let's find any reason to figure out why Tampa Bay lost. I mean, we'll get to it later in depth, but it's a new offense, and we knew we were going to have struggles. Brady looked a little worse for wear, though, but we'll get into it.
Starting things off the right way, obviously, if you are watching us on Facebook or YouTube, those are two places you can catch the videos live. YouTube, you can catch the video anytime. Usually it takes about a day to upload to the YouTube channel, but we do have our own YouTube channel. You can also catch us the following day. That's going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network, soon to be the All Access Sports Network. And you can catch us on iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, so you can catch the entire show, because we do run a little long sometimes, and you may miss out on the show because they cut out early for commercials, and that gets me all riled up.
Oh, God.
You can also catch us on social media at Infinity Sports Podcast on Facebook, at Infinity Sports Podcast on Instagram, and at SportsInfinity5 on Twitter. If you want to make it easy on yourself, go to infinitysportspodcast.com. All of the links to our social media are there, as well as our wonderful store, where you can get Infinity Sports gear, 12 is greater than 9 gear, and our newly added Sully collection. So far, only one item, gold jacket, green jacket. Who gives a shit?
I mean, easily the best piece of clothing in the store.
Now, I didn't save the photo, but if you follow us on Facebook, and hopefully you do, I did post our fan of the week. My buddy Kevin actually purchased some Infinity Sports gear. He's got the 12 is greater than 9 shirt and a 12 is greater than 9 mug. My sister's got a 12 is greater than 9 shirt, so that seems to be pretty good. So if you guys want to support the show, like I said, everything's pretty reasonably priced. I mean, I got this sweatshirt. I think it was $29.99 or something like that. And I was like, yeah, for a logo sweatshirt, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure, especially, and they're comfy as shit. So the fabric is really soft. It feels good.
Now, we do have some news to get to, and we're going to get into the little news section. But before we do, I do have to crap on a local business here in New Hampshire.
Dump
around. So I don't really play a whole lot of golf anymore, but there was a point where I was playing golf quite a bit. And last year in May, I went to go play golf in Meredith, New Hampshire at a course called the Waukee Country Club. And I play there because it's cheap. You know, it's like whatever, $25. It's super cheap. So anyways, I go and I play there. And what happened was this one particular day, I paid $50, 18 holes with cart. I'm like, that's reasonable. After 9 holes, I'm like, you know what? I can't stay. I got to go. I got this thing I have to take care of. So I go into the pro shop, say, hey, listen, just finished the first 9. I can't play the back 9. I'm just really pressed for time right now. Is there any way you guys can give me like a certificate or a voucher or something for the back 9? You know, and I know that there's a price difference. Like if you get like 9 holes, it's like $39, but it's $49 for 18. I mean, just give me a $10 certificate. I don't care. That's fine. Whatever. I'll use it next time I come. I mean, I play there all the time. Yeah. And so the guy's like, no, we don't give out those types of certificates. And I said, well, do you give out gift cards? He goes, yeah. I'm like, so just give me a gift card for $10. I'm like, it's the same thing. I already paid for it. It's like if I paid for a gift card, I've already paid for it.
Yeah.
And so he's like, no, we don't do that. That's my policy. But this is like an 18-year-old kid. And I was like, I said, okay. And I just left. Right. And then I wrote a message to the golf course on Facebook. I said, hey, here's what happened today. I'm pretty upset about it. I play there a lot, and you guys didn't handle it the right way, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then the guy emailed me, this guy who's like the manager of the course, is Tim No or whatever his name is. Emails me, he goes, hey, Wayne, sorry about that. That is our policy, yada, yada. But here's the $10 certificate. He emails it to me. I said, oh, thank you. I mean, I never played again because I was like, I'm just done playing for the year. And I just never really used it. But that's fine. I felt like he took care of me. The matter was settled.
Yeah.
And then a few days ago, and this is a year and a half later.
A year and a half later now.
A year and a half later, I get a message from the golf course on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Are they trying to get me to come back and play because I haven't been there for a while? And the message basically says something to the effect of, I thought we handled this rant already. If you have a problem, why don't you take it up with us or something like that? And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck is – first of all, it's a year and a half later. But let's say it wasn't. Let's say it's the very next day. That's not exactly the language you want to use with customers. Right?
Exactly.
So I email I can't find the email of the guy who got me the gift certificate. So I find the only email they have listed on the website is for this lady, Kim. So I say, hey, Kim, I don't know who to reach out to. Here's this message I got on Facebook. I sent her a screenshot. I said, I don't know what it's all about. It's been 16 months. I felt the matter was resolved. You guys took care of the issue. I didn't complain about it. And I get this whole thing about how I'm ranting. I said, it's just an unprofessional language. It's an unprofessional manner in handling things. She writes back, sorry, I'll look into this. I then get an email from the course manager, Tim No. He writes me back again. He goes, well, the reason I wrote you about your stupid rant was blah. He starts going off, right? And he's like, as a matter of fact, he says, I don't ever want to see you here again. And if we do, we're going to have you escorted off the court and possibly arrested for trespassing. And I was like, because I complained that your associate was rude?
What is happening here?
Yeah. So I said, okay, fine. So I wrote back to him. And I said, well, thank you for your professional reply. And I said, I just felt like, I was handled in a rude manner. And if I owned a business, I would want to know if my associates were being rude to customers. So I thought I would forward the matter to management. Right? Yeah. And then he writes back, he CCs that email to somebody else. And he says, can you make sense of all this? He goes, I'm sick and tired of dealing with this idiot. He goes, do we need to get our lawyers involved? I was like, fuck out of here. Lawyers involved? Because I said, hey, you guys were rude.
The best part is apparently they said you've done a string of these same Facebook rants. And is there any truth to this there, Mr. Wayne G?
Not rant. So here's the deal. So when it first happened and I reached out to them and I didn't get a response right away, I did go on Yelp. And I said, hey, here's what happened to me today at the golf course. I tried reaching out to somebody. Nobody got back to me. Right?
Now, you know how Facebook will sometimes give you a comment will randomly pop up from like a year ago or something like that, and it'll show on a timeline? I wonder if that's what happened and they just didn't check the date and wondered if you had kind of said the same comment again or something like that.
I think that's what happened because, if they could read, I don't think they can, but if they could, they would see that the date on my comment is from May of last year.
Yeah. And I don't think they saw that it's like from last year, because a lot of people don't check that date stamp. I'm guessing that's what happened.
Yeah, well, whatever happens.
In either case, they handled it pretty poorly.
Yeah, pretty sure. So I said, well, if you didn't like my comment on Yelp, I'm actually going to go onto Yelp and Golf Now and Golf Advisor, TripAdvisor, and I gave them all 1-star reviews in every place. And I posted a copy of that letter that they sent me calling me an idiot. I said, this is the owner of the golf course and how he talks to all of the customers who walk through the door.
Oh, nice. Hey, you see? That's how you do it. That's how you review it. You've got a little Jewish blood in you. That's how you review a Jewish style right there, man.
See, I feel like Johnny Lawrence, right, in Karate Kid. I'm like, blow it up alone.
Have you watched Cobra Kai on Netflix, by the way?
Of course, yeah.
It's incredible, is it not?
Love it. I think it's better than the movies then.
It is. It's definitely better. It's part of – it's 2 and 3 were, you know what I mean? But the 1 and then bringing like the nostalgia of 1 into like the show and everything is pretty cool though. But yeah, it's fantastic. Now, Paige, what's her name? Whoever plays the new chick in season 2, her real name is Paige something, but she is smoking.
Oh, Peyton List?
Yes, there you go, Peyton List.
Yeah, she's from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. She was the girl he had a crush on.
She's smoking.
Not to jump ahead, guys, but the Cowboys, same old Cowboys, or growing pains of the head coach change? Well, we'll get into it. We're going to review all these teams.
Yeah, I appreciate the comment, TJ. I really do. We're definitely going to get into it. We're done with Wayne's personal stories and his vendettas against golf courses, and now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of the episode. I'm hoping.
That's right. It is time for the news. All right, so before we get into football, let's just talk about some hockey news I wanted to go over. Obviously, the Stars up 3-1, because remember last time we talked, the Knights came out, fought back with a vengeance game 2. We're like, all right, there's the Knights that we thought of. And then they lose 2 games in a row. And, 3-2, 2-1, they're close games. But now the Stars are up 3-1. I know it's the NHL. Teams can come back from 3-0, especially with no fans. So do you think that the Knights are going to make any sort of push, or do you think this thing's over with?
They've got the team to, but I don't know. It seems like Dallas has kind of just figured it out, and they may actually be that team of destiny, like the boys at Triple Shot mentioned. They're just playing really well. They're playing sound defensively. They're playing extremely well together as a team. Their offense is scoring timeful goals, and the Knights are a better team on paper and look like they should be the better team, but man, Dallas is playing great hockey right now, so they're looking great.
Now on the flip side, in the East, we got the Lightning up 3-1 on the Islanders. So they start off 8-2. It looks like it's going to be a rout, 2-1. Then they lose 5-3, and then they come back and win 4-1. So I don't know what was up with the 5-3 loss. What was that?
5-3 loss is really a 4-3 loss. They scored an empty netter. We came back and ended up tying it late in the 4-3-3, and then they just kind of beat us. It was just one of those games. Everything went perfectly well for the Islanders, and everything went as wrong as it could for the Lightning, and they were able to get a win. I don't obviously foresee this game going more. I think the Lightning ended on Tuesday, and we go on to the Stanley Cup finals there.
And then it's most likely we talked about Lightning and the Stars. And you said if the Stars have figured it out, looking at how they're playing now, do they pose a problem for the Lightning, or is it just going to be like 4-1, 4-0? I
think it'll be 4-1. Again, no matter what team advances from the West, they're in a tough spot. For one, if Vegas advances, they're playing not at peak hockey, and we're playing peak hockey right now, and we're better defensively. If Dallas advances, they're playing peak hockey, but so are we. But our offense is just so tough to stop, where you have so many waves we can throw at you that their first and second line that are great defensively, well, their third line's going to have to step up and play against us too, and I just don't foresee it happening.
All right, and
then our special teams is clicking right now. So that's going to be tough. Our power play is really tough. We're scary.
And the only bit of baseball news I had is the Cubs' Alec Mills throws a no-hitter pretty efficiently, 114 pitches. He only walked 3. He struck out 5. And first of all, it's the Cubs, so who cares? Secondly, I looked at it as, I don't know, like when Nolan Ryan threw a no-hitter, he struck out 16 or 17 guys. A no-hitter with 5 strikeouts just seems like, eh. So let me do this, like, would you rather, right? Would you rather watch a pitcher throw a no-hitter or a pitcher get 18 strikeouts?
If you just said 20 Ks, I definitely would have watched. I'd rather watch the 20 Ks.
Well, that's why I tried to make it more of a tougher call. So like a no-hitter with 5 strikeouts, or you could watch a 3-2 game, but the winning pitcher had 18 Ks, struck out 18 guys.
Probably the no-hitter still, depending on, like, if it was a 1-0 game, that's tough to watch, but still probably the no-hitter. But honestly, football's back, so I didn't even know baseball was still playing right now. I didn't even know baseball was still going on. Now I only care about is the Rays. I won't watch another game except a Rays game until the playoffs for baseball, because now it's just my time's consumed with football.
Yeah, and when I see a guy get 5 strikeouts in a no-hitter, what I'm thinking is a guy who probably painted the corners a little bit, got a couple of calls and the strikeouts. When you see a guy strike out 18, it's usually because his stuff is filthy that day. Tons of movement on the ball. Sure. And that's why it's more fun to watch.
The guy with the 5Ks also probably tries to induce ground balls and shit like that. And I mean, that's just not fun to watch unless there's cool defensive plays, to be made. But I didn't watch this game, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think anybody watched it.
Except Brandon. You know what I mean? He was glued to the TV, I'm sure.
And the last sport before we get to the America's pastime of football, we've got the Lakers. We predicted it 4-1, or I say you predicted it because I asked you. I wasn't sure. I was going to go out on that limb, but you said, hey, 4-1. They're not going to lose another game. They lost the first one. Done. Just
done. That's it. They'll run through a steamroll. And they did. That team just looks so unstoppable right now.
And on the other side, we got the Clippers and the Nuggets are tied 3-3. We're going to have a game 7. I don't know. Does it really matter? I've already said the Clippers don't really pose a challenge, I don't think, to LA.
The only thing I think it matters if the Clippers lose, I mean, then I think it's like, what the fuck? Because everyone had the Clippers as the number one team, I think, going in, their depth and this and that. And even everybody who still liked the Lakers, they like the Clippers out of the West and things like that. And I mean, then the Kawhi, Paul George thing obviously didn't work. And, I think that causes more of an issue there in LA, especially up 3-1 and they blow that. Wow, I think that would be massive. I mean, Denver's playing out of their mind right now.
And then on the flip side, you've got the Boston Celtics close out the Toronto Raptors 4-3. They win that game 7. And I'll say something. I thought they were going to win in 6. I predicted that. I doubled down on it. I tripled down on it. But when I watched that game 6, and I posted the meme that this game was bananas. Dude, 3-pointer, 4-point play, 3-pointer, layup. It was the craziest 3 minutes of basketball I'd ever watched. And it was that double overtime. I couldn't believe. I mean, Marcus Smart knocking down threes. He's not a 3-point shooter,
Plus, Kemba Walker got fouled, and they didn't get called on that layup, like underneath the basket right there. That should have been called, and that would have been too. But to be fair, the alley-oop where they called the foul, but it somehow wasn't a shooting foul on an alley-oop, that didn't make sense either on the other end. That was the play directly after. But they would have had the 2 points here, so you don't know. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, Boston, let's all hope and pray we get that Boston Lakers finals.
I think that'd be fantastic. They have to get through the Heat first. My bold prediction on this one was a 4-1, a 5-game series. I just don't think Miami has the depth to beat the Boston Celtics. I just think when you look at the Celtics, and Hayward's coming back. He was shooting around with the team against Toronto. So Hayward's coming back. You've got Tatum, Brown, Smart's playing outstanding. Tice is fantastic. He was Defensive Player of the Year like 3 years in a row in Europe, so he can defend anybody. And you're going up against that Heat team. You get Jimmy Butler, and I know they've got a couple other guys that just don't love them. I know everyone's like high on Tyler Hero or whatever his name is. I love
Tyler
him.
Hero. Yeah,
he's all right. I just don't see. I think you're
slipping. I think you're slipping, man. Yeah. I don't like the reason. I think if anything, this is a bad matchup for the Celtics because I think the Heat are one of the deeper teams left, and if not the deepest team left. I mean, they got Dragic, they got Kendrick Nunn. Oh no, I mean not Kendrick Nunn. He's for Chicago. The other white guy that plays with Tyler Herrero, Henderson, right? God, I can't remember his name for the life of me.
They got what's his name? Is it Duncan? Is he on the Heat?
That's it, Duncan. And they've got a bunch of pieces that I think are going to be a problem for the Celtics, and I think they can throw enough out there. My issue is I don't know how they're going to defend the Celtics because Dragic is going to get exposed, I think, by anybody who plays him, and so is Tyler Herrero. And I'm not sure what they're going to do with him to not isolate him or to not have him isolated, but we'll see. It's going to be a great series. I think it's going to be another 4-2, 7-game series. I really do. I think it goes 6 or 7, but I would love to see Boston come out of it. I don't know who's going to come, but I'd love to see Boston come out of it.
Two best coaches in the playoffs going up against each other.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
I'm not a Doc Rivers fan, so
either am I. Either am I.
So that is it for the irrelevant sports, and it is time to get into the meat of the show, which is the football. We got 5 comments. Before we jump into football, let's see what we got going on here. Jesse comes in, implement the to be fair counter. The depth of Miami will be exposed if the series goes more than 5 or 6 games.
That's truly possible, like I said, because Goran Dragic can't defend, and so if he comes off the bench and he does get exposed, defensively, I think that's where it'll happen. Good comment.
Jesse says Duncan Robinson is a great sniper. Bam Adebayo is a middle class man's Dwight. He meant, and He says, post my comments and you'll have the help you need.
There it is. Yeah, Duncan Robinson. I agree. I think Duncan's a great player. You know, they've got the depth offensively. Again, I don't know if they'll have it defensively.
So let's get into it. Thursday was opening night for the NFL. I was so excited. I was like, it's late. I'm not going to stay up for the game. I can't help it. I had to stay up for the game. It's NFL game one. Watch the game. Chiefs 34, Texans 20. I'd said 30-13. I think you were pretty close. What was your prediction?
I can't remember exactly. I thought it was 38-20, so I can't remember exactly. It may have been 38-24. I was pretty close. I gave another prediction to a buddy of mine, and it was dead on. It was 35-20, and he was like, holy shit.
Well, before we talk about the stats of this game, I just want to say I watched this game, and through the first quarter, I don't know if they had a bet going or something, but Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels mentioned 7 times in the first quarter how much money Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes were making. They'd say, these guys are rich. These guys just signed a brand new lucrative contract. Here's a picture of them when they were kids before they were multimillionaires. It's like, did you guys have a bet? Is that what's going on? You're trying to see who can say it more?
It was odd how many times. I didn't notice it until you pointed it out. And then I was like, man, he is talking about that one point like a lot and just like specifically trying to point it out for kind of no reason. But I mean, whatever.
And it happened later when I was watching the Rams-Cowboys game because I guess it was the same crew, Collinsworth and Al Michaels.
I hate Chris Collinsworth.
And I swear to God, I turned the game on. I was like, all right, I'll turn on this game and I'll watch it while I'm getting changed or whatever. It was on for 30 seconds, and I can't remember which one of them was. Probably Collinsworth is like, Jalen Ramsey, new millionaire. I was like, oh, my God. Is that going to be a thing all season?
I mean, these guys are getting signed right now. I can't – he isn't, like, too far off. The Mahomes and the one didn't make sense, but the Watson one had just happened a couple, days before. The Jalen Ramsey just happened a couple days before, so I can't blame the guy.
Jesse says, I'm eating crow watching David Johnson do well in Houston after a week. Well, he's one of my starting running backs in my fantasy football league. I got him, Aaron Jones, and Josh Jacobs. So
You're
that's
welcome.
a nice – yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Nice. Because who was I saying? Who should I take, Johnson or who's the other guy?
I think it was James Conner.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah.
I'd have to get into the messages, but yeah. David Johnson's going to get a huge workload.
Was the Texans defense exposed, or was Kansas City just that? Well, Kansas City's that good.
It's just that good. And I mean, Houston's defense is still really good. I mean, J.J. Watt actually, I think played really well in certain spots. For how great Clyde Edwards-Helaire did, if you watch that game, he should have had 2 more touchdowns easy. Houston bucked up and stopped the run game pretty much any time they were inside the 5. They were able to lock the run game down, but beyond that, they couldn't handle the run game. And I think that's going to be the real difference for people with Kansas City is now they can beat you 2 different ways. That they can run the football, and obviously they can throw the ball.
Well, and that's one of the things I think that the Collinsworth team said well, is they said, like, this team needed any more weapons, and they get this guy.
And I mean, he's just a great fit.
So Mike Fink chimes in. He says, now here's a guy. That's a Chris Collinsworth staple.
I hate Chris Collinsworth.
I was looking over the stats on this game, and obviously the Edwards-Helaire 25, 138 and a touchdown. The thing that really stood out to me is, remember we were saying, like, with Deshaun Watson, who's he going to have to throw to now that Hopkins is gone? And Fuller had 8 catches for 112 yards. I know that you'd mentioned Fuller as a legit receiver because he had a good year last year.
Oh, he's incredibly good. I mean, the issue with Fuller is just staying healthy. And, I mean, he's never been able to do that. I don't think he's played a full 12 games in a season, honestly. So, but if he can stay healthy, and this is what God, why can't I not remember his name? Bill O'Brien wanted from jump was to be able to spread the offense around. He thought having D-Hop actually kind of limited his offense because Deshaun Watson would try to press the ball to D-Hop. He threw to Akins and Cooks and Fuller, and I mean, he's spreading the ball all around, and I think that's what he wants.
See, when I was looking at the receiving stats, though, it was basically Fuller with 8, and then I don't think anyone had more than 4 after that, so he was still forcing the ball to Fuller.
Yeah, but how many people had touches? David, like 6 other players had at least, I think it was 3 catches or something like that. And that's big. I think that's more what they wanted.
because you talk about spreading the ball around amongst your weapons. Sammy Watkins had 7 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown. Kelsey had 6 catches for 50 and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill had 5 for 46 and a touchdown. I mean, nobody spreads the ball around like Patrick Mahomes does, right?
I mean, that's why he's the best in the biz, and that's why. I mean, Andy Reid. They did mention a good tidbit about Andy Reid. Andy Reid's been a predominantly passing offense for a long time, and it never, was the trend, and now it's the trend, and so Andy Reid's ahead of the game. So he's been doing this for a long time, throwing the ball 60% of the time. So he knows what he's doing.
A couple questions on this game. We've got, again, TJ says, I'm a fan of J.J. Watt, but it's a matter of if he can stay healthy. See, I think he's over the hill. I don't think it's about whether or not he can stay healthy.
You watched that game and you thought he was over the hill? Did you see him dominate? He's still
freezing up. I'm guessing you're saying dominates. And when you get back, we've got this one here from Cooks impresses you in Houston, boys. I guess he's Brandon Cooks. How's he doing? And then he's asking you, Sully, when you get back, how did J.J. Watt look to you? First question is about Cooks, right? I like Cooks. I liked Cooks in Boston, but I felt like they utilized him wrong, which is something that McDaniels usually doesn't do. And I always point out how he always uses guys in the right way. He didn't use Cooks the right way. He was trying to use him as a take off the top of the defense kind of guy, like a Deshaun Jackson. And he's not that guy. He's 5'8". You can't get the ball to him. And now Jackson's short too, but Jackson also runs a 4.2, and Cooks, I think, is more like a 4.4 guy. He just doesn't look like he separates the same way as Jackson does.
4-3-1 for Brandon Cook.
Doesn't look it in pads though.
He's a burner. Didn't he have? He had 1,000 yards in New England. Now, granted, his second season he didn't have as much success, but I like Brandon Cooks. I still like Brandon Cooks. He's a concussion case, though. I mean, the theme for Houston is if they can stay healthy. Their whole offense, their whole defense is predicated on guys that tend to get hurt. You know what I mean? Now, J.J. Watt looked incredible. He was working on Titus Howard, the second-year tackle. So, Titus got exposed, but, he's a small school guy, so he's going to get exposed. But J.J. Watt looked fantastic. He's had a lot of freak injuries, like the torn bicep and the torn pec and stuff. That's unlucky as shit. But I think J.J. Watt's a monster. I think he's going to continue to dominate this year, honestly. Comeback player of the year.
And cruising right along again. We're not going to go right into our favorite teams. I just wrote them down in the order that Google had them, so that's where
just run it. Let's do it. They're all great games. You know what I mean?
So the Washington football team beats the Eagles 27-17. Wow. They were actually up, they were down 17-7 at the half, and then just came out 20-0 in the second half. I guess just that defense got after Carson Wentz. He got sacked 8 times in the game.
Chase Young with 1.5. That team's going to be a problem. Offensively, they're going to struggle, but I'm telling you, that team's going to be a problem on defense. Chase Young is legit. He's a top 5 pass rusher in this league the day he stepped foot on this field and put pads on, and he's a problem, and he opens up everything else for all the other players. And Ryan Kerrigan is still a good player. He's still a quality player. He's going to get his. He's going to eat. Montez Sweat's going to eat. That whole team is going to – I'm telling you, they're a problem on defense. Now, offensively – they're going to struggle. I don't know how Philadelphia allowed them to score 27 points.
Well, if you look at the stats, nothing really stands out at you. Haskins only had 1 touchdown. He had 178 yards passing. Barber was their leading rusher, or he had 2 touchdowns, but 17 carries for 29 yards, 1.7 yards per carry. They didn't really do anything offensively. I think they just killed them on defense.
Yeah, it was turnovers. Turnovers will hurt you, and Washington created turnovers.
And then Jesse asks, what Wentz got exposed? Color me shocked.
Not entirely. So they lost their starting left tackle, and so they had to move 406. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jason Peters is 47, could be 48. So he's moved over to left tackle, and he's a shell of himself, obviously. And then you got a backup right tackle in there. They just lost their right guard, Haile Vitale. So it's like they're hurting along the offensive line already, and I'm telling you, this Washington's pass rush is going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of people. It's not just Philly and Wentz getting exposed. For one, Wentz has no protection. For two, I agree. I don't know if Wentz is the player we all thought he was.
Now, Mike Fink, we are going to get to yours. He's got some Monday Night Football questions, so we'll get to those eventually. And Jesse said, let's get to the Patriots, boys. Blame it on Google, because I just went in the same order that Google has them on. Now, the Ravens 38-6 over the Browns, complete annihilation. And I can't help but point out to our our co-workers, Mike and Mike Manauer, what a trashy game for Lamar Jackson, right? Who was 20 of 25 for 275, 3 touchdowns and no picks, and then also rushes for 45 yards.
I mean, I'm a Lamar Jackson hater too, so you can bash me too if you want. I mean, it's one game and it's the Browns. So, but God, he looks good. That offense is just, I mean, tailor-made. You talk about people being in perfect situations and things like that, and you can argue, who makes who better, a coach or a player. But I mean, right now, if he continues to play this way, Lamar Jackson's going to make me eat crow, and I'll admit it.
Well, to rebut what you're saying there, you said it's just one game. It's actually 17 games because he was the MVP last year.
It's just one game this season. Like I said this season, the more tape you get on Lamar Jackson, the worse it is going to be for Lamar Jackson. But he's proven this one game, he showed, hey, look, I can throw the football. I don't have to run it 17 times or whatever times for 110 yards, and I can still win football games. That's my thing. I want to see if he can win games with passing the football and not having to rely strictly on his legs.
So let me ask you this. I wonder if then maybe for at least one player, maybe I out-scouted you at some point, because coming into the draft, I said Lamar Jackson is going to be a superstar in the draft because he wasn't Denard Robinson. Denard Robinson was get the ball run. He was just basically a running back that played quarterback. Like Lamar Jackson averaged like 300 yards a game passing.
No, he did, and I was wrong on my evaluation of Lamar Jackson at this point. Like, again, evaluations go for you like to get 5 to 6 years before you kind of consider yourself right or wrong. But as of this point, I didn't think Lamar Jackson would succeed as a passer in the NFL. The one thing that Lamar Jackson had is he was able to read his reads and go through progressions, but he still relied on his legs far too much. And I thought he was going to do that in the NFL, and players who do that don't succeed, in my opinion. He is a smart guy. He's in a system that works for him, and he's learning how to be a very, very, very successful passer in the NFL. I mean, he's efficient.
Only 7 carries for J.K. Dobbins, but he got 2 touchdowns out of it. We both said before the season, love this guy. Really good runner.
J.K. Dobbins is going to be a stud. He'll be the starting back in Baltimore by week 6.
And Jesse wanted to know about their opponent. Baker looks better in his commercials than he does on the field. Well, let's see. What was his stats? I mean, he only had 1 interception, but he only had 1 touchdown. 21 of 39 is not awful. It's better than 50%. And 189 yards. I mean, and the running backs look good. I mean, Hunt had 72, average about 5-6 yards a carry. Chubb averaged about 6 yards a carry. How do you only put 6? I mean, they look on paper, statistically, they don't look that bad, but they got blown out.
I mean, they did look bad. Their offense looked stagnant. Baker Mayfield didn't look great. You say it's over 50%. 50% is a bad benchmark if that's what you're starting at. You want your quarterback to throw for at least 60 to 65%. And that should be your kind of like your benchmark, in my opinion. So I don't love that. I think, we made an interesting point. Baker Mayfield, if the Browns get a number 1 or 1 or 2 pick, I think the Baker Mayfield era may be done.
And I think I chimed in on that conversation on Facebook because I said, very interesting that Bill Belichick loves Baker Mayfield and had actually talked to the Browns, I think, about trading up to number 1 to get him way back. And they couldn't work out a deal. He really loves Baker Mayfield. So if the Browns were to finish bad enough to get Trevor Lawrence and go out and get him, which would be weird because Justin Fields is an Ohio guy. So it'd be almost like that.
I think Justin Fields would kind of give them just as much thought over Baker as well. Yeah.
But either way, yeah. So Baker Mayfield, I think, then could end up in New England Patriot. I think Belichick would be on the phone like, "Hey, will you take a 7th for him?"
I think Baker would still get a 1st or a 2nd at this point because he does have talent. It's just, again, it's a fit and a system, and obviously the Browns don't really have an offensive mind. God, that would be the worst place ever for Trevor Lawrence to go. The NFL would never let that happen.
Jesse says it doesn't help that we see the commercials every break of the game. So, you know what, though? I don't mind Baker's commercials. He doesn't annoy me. Like, Peyton Manning annoys me. I don't know.
See, Peyton doesn't annoy me, but I don't mind commercials either. Make your money, man.
Yeah, I like the one where he's he treats the stadium like it's his house, right? Like, all right, we got to clean up. And
I like the one, all right, we got to cover the furniture. It's about to rain. And the guy goes, does he mean the seats?
Well, my favorite was when he had the party and he's going through cleaning with a little dustbuster, trying to So moving on to we got the Jaguars and the Colts. The Jaguars, who we thought were on a fire sale, selling, getting rid of all their players, getting rid of Fournette, getting rid of everybody, getting rid of Ramsey, and then all of a sudden they come out and they beat the Colts 27-20. And Gardner Minshew, 19 of 20 passing, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean,
that's the second half.
What's that?
That was just the second half.
Just because I have that as his total stats for the game.
No, I'm pretty sure that was just the second half.
I'll double check it just because I like to be right. But so yeah, I have 19 of 20, which is pretty damn good. 173 and 3 touchdowns. Huh?
Yeah, I mean he balled out of his mind and fucking shit. I took the Colts as my survivor pick this week, and that didn't do me too well. So that's a bummer. Oh no, he went 19 and 20 for the game. Wow, good for him.
So what does that mean?
What?
That I was right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Did you get your fucking? Oh, cool. You can.
Jesse says, who saw this coming? Because remember, Jesse had
the Jacksonville Jags doing really well. And hats off to him. Again, I think it's more these new offenses without the proper time to be able to prepare and no preseason and things like that. I think the offensive that have new quarterbacks, especially, and new key cogs are going to struggle. So I think that's more of what happened here. But, man, Indianapolis did not look good. Marlon Mack went down for the season now. I think it was a torn Achilles or torn ACL or something like that.
Yeah, Achilles.
Yeah, so he's done. But Nyheim Hines looked like a stud. I know you had pointed him out as a potential sleeper in one of our first fantasy episodes, just because Phillip Rivers loves to dump off to the back, and Nyheim Hines is that guy for him. So he's a sleeper pick. If you guys haven't already put in your transaction for Nyheim Hines, go ahead and do it now because he's going to be a huge workhorse, I think, for Indianapolis. But, man, Jacksonville looked good.
Well, I mean, Rivers, again, doesn't look bad. It's 36 of 46, 363 yards passing, but it's those 2 interceptions. You know?
2 picks. Turnovers kill you, man. Turnovers kill you. And I didn't watch the game, so I don't know if they're communication errors. I don't know what they are. But, yeah, 2 picks, I mean, that's going to kill you.
And one of those picks to the rookie, C.J. Henderson, the guy you like, right? 5 tackles, 1 interception.
I love C.J. Henderson. I mean, and that's the reason they were wanting or willing to let Jalen Ramsey go, like when they did, because they like C.J. Henderson. So,
getting to the next game, we got the Raiders 34-30 over the Panthers. Now, this kind of switched over after you watched the 1 o'clock game, at least in my time zone, whatever. Yeah. Flipped over to that game, and I watched it. I was like, oh, this is a good game. Love Teddy Bridgewater. I really do. And he didn't really make any mistakes from what I can see. 0 interceptions, 270 yards, only 1 touchdown. But again, my guy Derek Carr doing what he does, completing the majority of his passes, not turning the ball over. 22 of 30. Josh Jacobs, though, was really the story. 25 carries, 93 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 catches for 46 yards. He basically carried my fantasy football team.
And that's what he's going to do all year. You know what I mean? I think he's going to be the workhorse of that offense. They're going to ride him until he's about 4 years into that rookie contract, and they won't extend. They'll let him go, and they'll find a new workhorse. But ride him while they can. I mean, the guy just carries the load. Now,
this is something you and I talked about going live, which is that you don't like Ruggs. You said I love Ruggs in this offense.
I don't. I just don't think they have. Again, I don't think it's a good fit. What Ruggs does is take the top off of defense, and that's not what Derek Carr does well. I know you think he can work underneath and things like that. That hasn't really been his staple. He's not like a guy who's got a great route tree and can do types of things like that. So, I mean, he may be able to develop into that guy, but essentially what he is he's the guy that's going to take the top off for you, and that's not Derek Carr's strength. Now, if Amari Cooper in that offense, if they switch that and Amari Cooper's there with Derek Carr, child.
Now, how about this one? So McCaffrey has 23 carries, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. The announcers pointed out, and I was watching this because we were both watching the end of that game, 4th quarter, 4th and 1, and they don't give it to McCaffrey. They gave it to the fullback, whatever it was.
I mean, they've done that in like times past, but they had Mike Tolbert and things like that. So I don't know. For how much work and how hard he is and how hard-nosed he is, people still, I don't know what, if they think he's not a in between the tackles back, but to get the fucking ball to your best player. Excuse my language. That's right. Like it's put the ball in your player's best hands, like in the most important times of the game.
And then a great fantasy guy. If you grab, I tried to get this guy in like the 10th round because he was still there. I probably should have grabbed him in the 9th, but I didn't. And that's Robbie Anderson. Had 6 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he's a burner. He goes deep, and Teddy Bridgewater can get him the ball.
Yeah, he was a big question mark for me because I liked him in that Jet system a lot. And, new players and new systems, you never know how their fit's going to be. A gamble in the late rounds looks like he's going to turn out worth it. Now, it's only one game, but the team's got a lot of players around him. So, like, Curtis Samuel's a legit weapon. DJ Moore's a legit weapon. So, Roddy Anderson may get some one-on-one matchups that Teddy Bridgewater can hopefully expose.
Now, the next game we get to is our fellow coworker over at Triple Shot Sports, Brandon Combs, loves the Chicago Bears. He's the biggest Mitchell Trubisky fan I've ever met. Like, he's got his jersey, he's got a tattoo of his face.
Yeah.
Dude, he loves Trubisky. Well, he loved the game because Trubisky went 20 of 36, 242 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 27-23. The Bears win. So your guy did it, Brandon, man. Your favorite player friggin' carried your favorite team.
Yeah, I mean, did we watch the game?
I didn't watch the game.
So, I mean, the Lions lost that game more than the Bears won that game. DeAndre Swift, the rookie, dropped a easiest touchdown pass he'll ever drop in his life with pretty much under a minute left. And bank, bongo, that's the end of the game. But, Trubisky played well, but Matthew Stafford had led him back and pretty much had won that game and done what Matthew Stafford does. Matthew Stafford's just a man. All that guy does is play good football, in my opinion.
Triple Shot Sports says, I hate you right now. So they didn't want Brandon doesn't like me telling people about his Trubisky tattoo, but
he doesn't like it. He's got a huge crush for the guy, and that's why he holds him to such a high standard, I think. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
And Jesse, of course, pointing to my benchmark, right? Trubisky was better than 50%, right?
Yeah.
He's actually way over 50%, I think. Well,
no, really. He was not. He was at close. Like 54. Yeah.
He was at Josh Allen kind of numbers.
Hey, actually, we'll get to it. Josh Allen had a game, baby.
Yeah, but he's 58% last year, and I think that's one of the reasons I crapped on him early.
No, yeah, for sure. And I mean, he definitely. That's one of the things he has to get better. You have to. I mean, Kyler Murray throws the same kind of completion percentage too. So
he had like 64% last year.
Yeah, I know, but you got to work that shit up, man. You got to be in the 70s, man. 68, 70s.
Only one player in the NFL had a 70% completion percentage last year.
Yeah, I know, but you got to get it up there. Like that's where you got to be for an elite guy. Like Drew Brees, when he was at his elite time, he was throwing 70%. Things like that. The elite seasons are 70%, in my opinion.
Now, the elite player that we're talking about is my boy Derek Carr. Only quarterback was 70% last year.
Bottom 5 in yards per air and completion percentage, by the way.
Yeah, he throws short passes, but he threw for 4,000 yards. So.
Yeah, when you throw for 4 yards a clip, who gives a shit?
Yeah, 1,000 attempts. That's what you got to do. So Triple Shot Sports says even his completions were misses that receivers made great catches on.
I didn't watch the game, so I did see that Anthony Miller touchdown. That was a great pass, great catch all around. That ball had great placement. I don't care what you say. Yes, Anthony Miller made a great catch, but that was great coverage, and you got to put the ball in a spot that only a receiver can make the catch. And Mitchell Trubisky did that. I think it was a gret play all around. So kudos to him.
The only quarterback in the NFL that can make that throw. And so Brandon's girlfriend chimes in. She says, yes, he does have that tattoo, Wayne.
Yes, see? Proof's in the pudding, folks. Anyway, you've watched Waterboy, obviously. So the Roy Orbison scene, that's what it is. He's got it on his ass. He's got a picture of Mitchell Trubisky right there.
And Jesse, Michelle thinking Wayne hasn't seen all of Combs' tats is the real joke. Okay. And Triple Shot Sports again. So this is obviously and so let's see. The next game we're going to get to is the Seahawks Falcons. The last one of these comments here. Mike Fink says Josh Allen was balling against the defense who traded away their only playmaker in Jamal Adams, who, by the way, had a day in Atlanta. We're about to get to Atlanta, so we're going to talk about that, which is the Atlanta Falcons lose 38-25 to the Seahawks. Jamal Adams did have 8 tackles, 4 assists, and a sack. So pretty good game for him. I don't love Jamal Adams. I think he's good, but I don't know. I like the I'm blanking on the name of the Chargers safety who's always hurt.
Derwin James.
Love Derwin James. So
yeah, I do as well. But I mean, I think Jamal Adams is a fucking baller.
Another guy I don't really love, but had 4 catches for 95 yards and touchdowns, DK Metcalf, right? I mean, we talk about how this guy, you talk about not being a good route runner, but he's just a huge, fast guy.
I mean, his touchdown was I think like a 30-yarder on a 4th and 5 where he literally just ran by the guy and the guy just somehow let him behind him. I don't know. And Russell Wilson just throws a dime. The real takeaway from that game is Russell Wilson is very good at football.
Comment from Triple Shot Sports. Didn't you guys used to be a trio?
God, just the digs are not. So I can't wait to see what Jesse comes back with.
Really, the comments are like the best part of the show so far.
But yeah, Russell Wilson looks like a stud. He's a legit MVP candidate this year, I think. That team, we talk about weapons, man. They got a lot of weapons on that team now. Tyler Lockett's legit. DK Metcalf is good. Greg Olson's there. Will Dissly's still a good player. Chris Carson's a legit running back. That team's good, man. I think they're a talented bunch. Now, they can't rush the passer for shit, but, Jamal Adams, they're going to find creative ways to get to him. And then Atlanta, I don't know what they were doing for the first half of the game. Did you watch it?
I did not watch the game. No, because I don't have like the NFL Network.
That was my local game, so that's why, because it's Atlanta, so that was the closest 1 p.m. game, and that was my local game, so I was able to watch the first half, and that offense just looked awful. They looked stagnant. They didn't look like they were able to do much, and then Seattle got to the big lead, and then the passing game exploded, and Calvin Ridley, my darling of the season, I'm telling you, he's going to be a top 7 receiver. He exploded and the offense kind of got going, but it was too little too late.
Yeah, three wide receivers with 9 catches on that team. I mean, really, when Matt Ryan throws for 450 yards, everybody's going to get some yards. Yeah. But yeah, they had Russell Gage, Calvin Ridley, and Julio all had 9 grabs. Ridley had the 2 touchdowns. And I know that we were talking before the show that you had recommended that I take him instead of A.J. Brown, and I took A.J. Brown instead. So I'm hoping he has a good game tonight so I can be like, phew, that didn't make a mistake there.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley was the guy I went into this season that I think this is not Julio Jones. He's not going to have like a falling off the cliff year, but I think this is where Calvin Ridley becomes the number 1 in that offense.
Now, we've got, again, just got to keep posting the comments here because I just keep coming fast and furious. We've got Triple Shot Sports says, did Wayne eat Jesse? I guess I look really fat this episode. So,
I know, you look big, Jesse.
Yeah. And then, let's see, Coach, didn't Combs used to have hair? So,
hey, let's leave the ball jokes where they belong, guys. There's a reason I wear hats.
Let's see. Oh, Jesse, glad you stuck around. We were on the Patriots.
Hey-o.
So, we get to talk about the Patriots winning 21-11 against the Dolphins. I mean, this was a game they were going to win. There was no way around it. It's the Dolphins. The quarterback's Ryan Fitzmagic, who threw 3 interceptions. I actually posted a meme during the game. I said, I can make our possessions disappear. Because he just really is not great. And I think Tua is going to be the starter easily by halfway through the year. Just standing there on the sidelines. But again, just talking about Cam Newton, 15 of 19, did what he was supposed to do. It's a ball control offense, doing the RPO offense. Had the most rushing yards ever for a Patriots quarterback in history in one game. I mean, for a game. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, 75 yards rushing. I mean, he was their leading rusher. I don't like the RPO offense. I don't like it for Lamar Jackson. I don't like it for Cam Newton. I just don't love it because these guys can throw the ball. I don't mind them scrambling, like getting out of a tackle and running 13 yards, but I hate designed quarterback runs. I just hate them.
Doesn't matter if it works. You can hate it all you want, but it works and it's simple. And Josh McDaniels, this is where he's a genius, man. Again, new offenses, no time to prepare. Don't fill his head with these crazy offensive schemes where you got this route and this route and this and this. No. Give him RPO. Give him what he knows what he can do. 2 players on a route. Everybody else max protect. If it's not there, run. And it worked. I mean, we don't know how long it's going to work because it was the Dolphins, like you said. But, I mean, the offense is going to work, and that's what it's going to be. Your defense looks good, man. God, they look
really good, yeah.
God, I know it's the Dolphins, but, man, they look good. Dolphins have weapons. Their passing game really is no joke. I mean, it can hurt some teams, and God, you guys just swallowed them up, man. It's going to be a long year, I think.
Well, and I had said, and I've had this debate many times on Facebook leading up to it, and this is it's only one game people are going to chime in, is I said the Patriots had the best defense in the NFL last year, and they bettered and youngered their pass rush with Uche, and then they got the Alabama linebacker Simmons. Starts with an S. That was the Alabama linebacker they got in the 4th round.
Oh, the 4th round. I know who you're talking about, but yeah.
That was like Terrence Simmons or something like that. Anyways,
no, it's not, but yeah.
No. Okay, anyway, so we got him, and then Winovich looked really good. I mean, he was stopping the run, and he was getting him back there for the rush the passer. He just gets past. How does he get past offensive linemen? Like he just blows by him.
Good, and his technique is second to none. And I mentioned that Chase Winovich is going to be a good player for y'all. I think Chase Winovich is a stud. I mean, the defense does look great. Your secondary is just, I mean, it's so good. And then these young pass rushers are going to have to step. Anthony Jennings, there you go, are going to have to step up. It's gonna be a long season, I think, for the Dolphins. And even when Tua comes in there, it's going to be a long season for them.
You know what surprised me about the Dolphins was Howard, 8 carries for 7 yards. They didn't really use him. He stuffed the line. Second half, they're like, we're going to play Breida.
I don't think they're going to. I think Matt Breida is going to be the player there. I mean, Matt Breida is just the more explosive guy, and I think the better running back.
Now, going through some of the comments, I don't know why Jesse's taking shots at me. I didn't say anything about you, man. Let me remind you guys of the best blogs on Combs' boyfriend's website, The Curious Case of Jarrett Stidham. First of all, I'm going to say this. That's a really great read. That's one of the better blogs I've written, is The Curious Case of Jarrett Stidham. Even though it didn't work out the way I thought it was going to, that's a really, really good read. So I recommend anyone to read that, even if...
Yeah, thanks, Jesse. But no, I mean, I think we all kind of agreed that if with no Cam Newton, Jarrett Stidham would have probably been the guy there. Just because he didn't win the job doesn't mean he doesn't have talent. So
it's just it needs another. I thought he needed another year. I just thought it was another year behind Brady.
Yeah.
We got Mike Fink said if you run the ball 46 times in a game, you're doing something right. The Patriots are going to shorten games this year.
Yeah, for sure. They're going to play great defense and they're going to run the football and they're going to win a lot of these games. I doubt they score more than 30 points once all season, honestly.
And then we get Triple Shot chiming in on this whole thing. If anything, Jesse, I'm the boyfriend in the relationship.
Both be boyfriends. It's just who's the girl.
Yeah, I mean, whatever he wants.
Guys, it's 2020.
Yeah, hey, we're progressive thinkers.
Exactly.
The last one, the Patriots defense, I pointed this out when they signed him. You guys shit on me for pointing it out, but they signed all-pro safety Adrian Phillips, who had 8 tackles, an interception, the football. And I know that you guys are pointing out, well, dude, he was all-pro special teams, not all-pro safety, and that may be true. But he also had like 100 tackles. Like he gets after the football, he finds the football.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. It's one game against the worst, arguably one of the top 5 worst teams in football. So let's not get out of our head here.
And Jesse wants to know an updated record prediction on the Pats.
7-9.
11-5.
No, I still think, I'm telling you, Buffalo looks good. I think they're still going to take that division. And I still think that if I remember correctly, the Pats have some tough games. And I think they're going to lose a lot of those closer games this year, but we'll see. Again, we'll see. I do think they're a better team. If I'm just being, maybe 8-8 is a better, kind of thing, but I don't think they're a playoff team. I really don't.
Triple Shot Sports thinks 6-10.
That's what I've always said. If you still think 6-10 after watching them, I think you're still just kind of jabbing at that point. That offense looks like it's going to be hard to stop until you figure out a game plan for it. So
now, how about we get the Chargers beat the Bengals 16-13. Again, 2 crappy teams playing each other. By all accounts, Joe Burrow looks okay. 23 of 36, 193, no touchdowns and a interception, but he runs for a touchdown. My understanding, again, I didn't watch the game, but I understand that he had them in position to win, and then something happened at the end of the game.
So he led a 2-minute drive beautifully down the field. It looked poised, looked composed, looked like a veteran quarterback leading his team down the field, and then set his team up for the game-tying field goal. And his kicker pulled a calf or some shit when he hit the kick, and missed it. And there's welcome to the NFL, Joe.
Jesse did one more thing on the Pats here. At Seahawks next Sunday for the Pats. Yikes, that's an L. I disagree with no fans in the stands. I don't know.
See, I get that's one of those teams that I expect an L. Like, I just don't think the offense is going to be advanced enough to be able to beat a team like the Seahawks. Yeah, you can beat a team like the Dolphins and the Pats. I mean, and the Jets and things like that. And you may split the Bills, but I just don't know if you're going to beat these out of conference teams like the Seahawks. And if you've got to play the Niners or whatever your other NFC West game is.
That's the paper shuffling, my unprofessionalist. So we've got the Cardinals 24-20. This was the other NFC game before the one we get to that I really wanted to see. I did get to watch some of it. Kyler Murray, again, 26 of 40, not phenomenal, 230 yards, 1 pick, 1 touchdown, 13 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown. But again, I don't think that he's a guy who can get out of the pocket and get 25 quick. He's just fast, but I don't think he's a guy that's running the RPO because he's got such a cannon for an arm.
Yeah, no, he is. His runs, a lot of his runs are fake designed, like it's kind of half designed, half runs. But I mean, the long one that he scored on wasn't a designed run. He took off in the pocket. D-Hop fitting in well there. He had 14 catches for how many yards?
14 for 151.
Yeah, I mean, he's just fitting in like a glove there. That team's dangerous. It's going to be very dangerous. We both have been all over that team. We both love them. I have them as a playoff team. I don't think you did, but I know you had them for a decent amount of wins. And I think that team now, if that defense is legit and they could hold teams to 20 points, man, that team could win 10 ball games, 11 ball games pretty easily.
Well, we say hold teams to 40 points. We were just bagging on that. Yeah, well, we were bagging on the Patriots because they played the Dolphins. The 49ers offense isn't anything incredibly special. And I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo did his Jimmy Garoppolo thing, which basically he's a game manager that makes $30 million a year.
Very efficient.
Yeah, 19 of 33, 259, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He doesn't turn the ball over, but he's not going to win games for you. And I think that, I want to see that Cardinals defense against a quarterback that can win games. Again, they're going to play Russell Wilson twice. So, I mean, we'll see how that goes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we'll definitely see it. And, but the Arizona's got to take this as a huge win because San Francisco's known as like the powerhouse of the group. You know what I mean? And they came in and Arizona's been known as a dumpster fire, and to come in and beat them is huge. And, Jimmy G, you talk about your boy in Oakland, Carr. Jimmy G's essentially just a Derek Carr.
I actually think Jimmy G's got a bigger arm than Carr.
No, I know, but I mean, he does, but he's essentially just a game manager who can't make accurate throws downfield.
All right. Now, how about your guy, Brandon Ayuk? Did he not play? It was a DNP?
I did not see. I wasn't able to watch a lot of this game. I was working, unfortunately, so I haven't been able to see. But
I just know he didn't have any catches. So.
Yeah, I wasn't able to see. I mean, that offense looked like it got pretty stifled, to be honest with you. I mean, I know Jimmy G, how many completions did he have?
19.
For what was his yards?
259.
Oh, okay. So he did kind of throw it for a decent clip. But yeah, I mean, I haven't watched a lot of that game, unfortunately.
Now we get to the Tampa Bay and Saints game, and man, this was a game I was really looking forward to. And when Brady got that rushing touchdown and did the Gronk spike, I was like, oh, here it is. Tampa Bay is about to blow this thing out of the water. And then they didn't. And the Saints won 34-23. I mean, Breeze didn't look good either. 18 of 30, 160 yards, but Brady, two picks. That's what I think killed him.
That's 100% what killed him. One of them was a pick six, too, where it was just a bad throw to the wide side of the field on an out that he threw to the inside on the inside shoulder, and you can't do that. I mean, you just can't. If you're going to miss, you got to miss outside. Then the other one was just a miscommunication with Mike Evans. It looks like he thought he was going to keep going up, and Mike Evans stopped, and then easy pick. But I mean, those will change the game. They really will. I mean, it's going to take time for our offense. Ronald Jones, I think, looked good. I mean, I do. I think we ran the ball pretty well. I think we just need to get our passing game in the toe, and that's going to take time, unfortunately.
And what's up with Evans' 1 catch for 2 yards? I mean, it was a touchdown, but one.
He was hurt. He was hurt, unfortunately, going into the week. He was questionable and doubtful all week. And then Marshawn Lattimore's a fucking stud. I mean, let's not forget he was an all-pro player. Marshawn Lattimore, and he shadowed him all game. I'm more concerned with why Chris Godwin didn't expose somebody and things like that. But the Saints are a tough matchup for any team that wants to pass. They're a base 4-2-5 team. They run a base, nickel. That's just what they come out in. They can man you up on the back end, and they can rush the passer with 4. Davenport's a stud. Cameron Jordan's a stud. they can get after you. So, and Donovan Smith just got exposed this game. Our left tackle played awful. I mean, just awful.
What I did like is seeing, Michael Thomas get 3 catches for 17 yards. And I'd seen somebody comment on Facebook. They said, hey, what happened to the best receiver in the NFL? And somebody replied, he's in Arizona with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, he is. Michael Thomas is a technician again. It's probably a bad matchup for him too. With us, we have 2 big, long, physical corners. 3 actually. All of them are above 6'2". All of them over 200 pounds. All of them extremely long. Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy-Bunting are going to get in your face and play you pretty tough and close. So it's not the greatest matchup for him either. So, but I mean, Alvin Kamara did his thing, out of the backfield against us. So it's what it is. We didn't play a great game. We looked poor.
And the last game last night was the Rams and the Cowboys. Completely shocked on this one because I had the Cowboys 14-2. I think you had 12-4 or something, right? So right there.
And then I think at 4 wins too. So.
Yeah, I mean, and they come out and they beat the Cowboys 20-17. I mean, again, Goff doesn't look great. 20 of 31, 275, no touchdowns and an interception. But I gave you props for telling me to pick Calvin Ridley over AJ Brown. You told me not to sign Malcolm Brown. And the guy had 18 carries for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I didn't say don't sign him. I said if you don't have a guy that you can drop for him, it's tough to figure out what's going to happen in that backfield. It still is. Cam Akers got a workload too, and you have Cam Akers. I guess you could have dropped Darrell Henderson for him, and it was probably what you should have done. I missed the ball there. I didn't pick up Malcolm Brown in any of my leagues either. But again, it's just 1 week. It's 1 week. I think Cam Akers will definitely end up being the guy who totes the rock there. But Dallas, I don't hate the 4th down call, but how do you not design a play that goes past 3 yards and get a receiver in a position to catch the ball? I'm not really sure. Dak is not worth $40 million anyway whatsoever.
And we talk about bad play calling, bad clock management, things like that. Jason Garrett was notorious for that. Yeah. And
here
comes Mike McCarthy. We know he knows what he's doing.
Same shit. Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's kind of looks like the same thing. CeeDee Lamb was a bright spot. I'm pretty sure he had, 5 catches. He looked solid, but, you just got to do more. I mean, for a team with that many weapons, again, that was supposed to do that great like Tampa was, to only score, 20 points is just blah.
And Mike Fink says, Rams-Cowboys had to have an over-under in the number of times the announcers mentioned the $5 billion stadium. Yeah. Guess who the announcers were? Collinsworth and Michaels. They're so hung up on money. That's all they can do.
That's kind of the agenda it seems like they're pushing at this point. So, I mean, they're just stuck on it.
They're horrible. And again, on Facebook, it's like a lot of people don't like Collinsworth. And I usually don't notice bad announcers, because my whole thing is if they notice you, then you must be really bad, because I just don't notice the announcers for the most part. Aikman's not bad, but he's not great. I just don't notice him, and that's perfect. I do really like Tony Romo. I really like what he brings to the game.
I do too.
His analysis is great. Now, go through here. Vander Esch out for 6 to 8 weeks. I guess he broke his collarbone or something like that.
Yeah, he did. And then Blake Jarwin tore his ACL. He's out. So, Dallas got hurt.
And before we get into Monday night's games, I want to scroll back up the comments here because Mike Fink did have some Monday Night Football questions for us.
Aaron Donald fucking dominated too. That man played like a man possessed. God, he's so good at football.
So Mike Fink asks, Steelers minus 5.5 versus the Giants, 46.5 over under, and Titans minus 3 versus the Broncos, over under is 41.5. So who you got? So me personally, I know Dan's more the betting guy, so he'll probably know more than me. I'm looking Steelers minus 5.5. That means that they're giving up 5.5, right? I would take the Giants. I do like the Giants offense, even though the Steelers defense is really good. I think that Saquon Barkley is going to have a good game, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants win the game outright. So I would take the Giants and those points. I mean, why the fuck not? And then the over-under 46.5. I'm going to take the under. Both those offenses are garbage. And then Titans minus 3.
You just said you liked both their offenses.
I like the Giants offense. I don't like that. I don't like this. I like the Giants offense because I like Barkley. But 46.5, it's at the under. Titans minus 3 versus the Broncos. I take the Titans and give up the 3 points. I just think that they're better. I don't like the Broncos. Von Miller's out for the season, right? So, I mean, they don't have that pass rush guy there. Over under 41.5. I'm going to take the over on this one because I think that this game is probably going to be like 28, 24, something like that. So 52, I would take the over.
Well, I think the opposite in both games. I think I'd take the Steelers. I don't know if I'd lay the whole 5.5 though. That one may be closer than people think, but the over I think is a sure lock in that game. I like both those offenses a lot. I think the Giants score points. I think the Steelers score points. I expect a 35-28 game in that one, or 24 games, something like that. I really do. And then the Titans Broncos, I'm a huge Broncos believer this year. They're kind of going to be my sleeper team. I'm not a big Titans fan. So just for shits and gigs, I'm going to take the Broncos +3. But I don't know what I'd do with that over under, because I don't know if it's going to be a high scoring game. I could easily see a 2017 game, something like that. So that one will be close. I'd probably stay away from the over under on that game, but I actually like the Broncos to upset the Titans tonight.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. We'll have. I'm gonna keep track of it and see. Yeah, I like when you said I was right. I really like that.
I mean, hey, you've done it plenty of times for me tonight. You know, I pretty much built your fantasy team. So,
well, except for telling me not to get Malcolm Brown.
Well, yeah, I told you to get Calvin Ridley over A.J. Brown. You wouldn't have needed Malcolm Brown.
And when A.J. Brown has 14 grabs for 225 yards tonight.
We'll see.
All right, so that kind of covers Monday Night Football. That's pretty much the show. We did actually make it a little bit over an hour. I thought we were going to go a lot longer with all the games.
I did too, honestly, but we burned through, man. That's what we do, baby.
We do appreciate everybody checking in and watching. Let's see if there's any last-minute comments. I don't think there are. Scroll down. Nope. So thanks everybody for watching. We do appreciate it. Obviously, you can download on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. If you missed anything, I'm not going to go to the brand thing. Visit the website.
InfinityPodcast.com.
InfinitySportsPodcast.com.
Infinity Sports Podcast. Hit us up on Twitter, Infinity Sports 5. Hit us up on all the fun stuff. Sports Infinity 5, whatever it is.
Comments up. All right, it's a big shit show. All right, you want to throw it to Kenny?
Kenny, you watching football? What's up?